When closing, when you were thinking about the closing piece, what is it that you want people to get from your brand when they leave here today?
What the fuck for?
I want them to see luxury.
So I could get a job making $30,000 a year and pay back my fucking student loans. Plus, how the fuck am I gonna buy Lamborghini, Ferrari, and go to Miami 10 times a year doing that dumb shit?
Cash in the sweat socks, check the sweat box. Got nothing near the size of an Xbox.
Hey yo, man, shout it out to everybody, man. My name is Chris, man, and I am the CEO and designer for Numi Vested / Coins Apparel. And please bear with me, I'm not good with doing interviews, but I felt like this is a must. I must tap in to my fans and supporters and let them know a little bit more about me and the brand, you know. And hopefully we get some more supporters so people can understand the story of Numi Vested, right? So, I'm from Buffalo, New York. I'm from the east side of Buffalo, New York, man. So how I want to start this, man. So, listen, as a child, I always had a passion to be creative. Like, I used to get comic books, open up the comic books, draw Spider-Man, Wolverine, so on and so forth. Also, I used to collect football cards. I used to do the same thing. Look at the football cards, draw football. I was nice. Yo, I was super nice with drawing. But, you know, growing up in impoverished neighborhoods and drug-infested communities, you tend to veer to the wrong direction. So, I was raised, I don't want to say I was raised by a single mom because my dad was present, but he wasn't present. And I'm not going to get into all that, but I was raised by a single mom, but eventually I let the streets get a hold of me. My mom had her ups and downs, you know what I'm saying? Like anybody else. Ain't nobody perfect, you know what I'm saying? My mom had her ups and downs to the point I used to go stay with my grandmother for some time. My grandmother used to take care of me. Then I'd come back to my mother. It was, you know, it was situations like that. But it was a point in time where the streets just got a hold of me, man. It swallowed me whole. So I did anything that anybody else that been outside used to do. So, you know, I'm not here to glorify that or nothing. I'm just giving you my story. So, through my trials and tribulations, I ended up going to prison on 3 separate occasions. The first time I went to jail on the 2 to 4. I ended up doing the whole 4 years. It was for guns. It was for guns and drugs. So initially I started off in shot camp. That didn't work. Then I ended up going to the prison, which is Oneida Correctional Facility, and that was my first taste of prison. I never been to no like as a youth, I never been in jail. I never was in trouble as a youth. When I got in trouble as a youth, we used to take us to the precinct and call our parents and let us go. I never been to like the industry joints or DFY. I never been in none of them, man. So I came home from the 2 to 4. I think I was home like 8 months. Was home 8 months. Went back to jail for a situation that I don't want to really elaborate on. And they gave me 6 years. They gave me 5 years flat. I copped out to 5 flat, but I owe 1 year of parole time, so they added that on and I ended up doing 6 years. I come home from that. I was home 8 months, man. Parole, rushed the crib, they find 10 grams of hard, man. 10 grams of crack cocaine. I went back to jail for 3.5. I was released from my final bid in 2019, but while I was in jail, shout it out to my man Fifth. Yo, Fifth, shout it out. I met a few good, shout out to my man Fetty. I met a few good people on my last bid. No, I met my man Fetty like my second bid when I had the 6 years, but I met a few good men in there that I'm close friends with now, more than people that I grew up with, which, you know, it happens, you know what I'm saying? When you in prison and you spending every little second of the day with these people, you establish bigger and better relationships than people you grew up with when you was a kid. Because, you know, people change over time. So I got established. I got good friends from Harlem. I got good friends from the Bronx. And shout it out to them, man. So when I came home in 2019, I had a whole different mindset. While I was up there my last bit, I kept telling, I wanted to start a van service for the prisons. to take families up there to the prison system so they can see their family. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't getting no visits. I already understood the dynamics. I know how I feel not getting no mail, no family coming to see you. Even though my mom's did break her neck to come see me a few times. You know what I'm saying? My ex-wife. But I understood the dynamics. I was all the way up in Clinton, Bear Hill, Franklin. Like, if you from Buffalo, New York, your family trying to get to Bear Hill, Clinton, and Franklin, it's like, that's like going to Mars. So that was, initially, that was my idea. That was my plan to change my life. Instead of resorting back to the streets, I was going to start a van service so people's families could see them while they was incarcerated. So that never manifested. So I was delivering newspapers for the Buffalo News for probably about 2 years. But in the process, if anybody know about the Buffalo News or any delivering newspapers, you had to deliver them joints about, the truck came about 1, 2 o'clock, sometimes 3 o'clock. So you up in the middle of the night. So as I'm delivering newspapers, I'm watching. I just learned about YouTube. I had no idea what YouTube was. So I started watching videos on YouTube on how to become an entrepreneur or do it, what they call it, DIY videos and do it yourself. I'm like, yo, I got to figure out a way because the street's not working. And then when you come home and you realize that you damn near 40 or you damn near 39 and you haven't worked enough to retire or get 401k, when your body break down on you, you start to realize, yo, I have to create my own path. I have to create my own company in order for me to survive in America. You feel me? So I started learning about business, learning about credit. My man, rest in peace, Pisno, he started teaching me about credit. And I was just getting everything in order, everything in order. I'm saving my money. I'm delivering papers. I'm doing everything I can to not resort back to the streets. So once I ended up getting a heat press and, you know, bought vinyl and all that. But I have finally established my first LLC, which was Cambridge Customs Printing Company. So as soon as I get that legit, everything legit, I'm ready to launch. The pandemic hit. Boom. So now I'm like, damn, like they got the whole world locked down. Like, how I'm supposed to? My job description is to make customized T-shirts and all that. So unbeknownst to me, that I could have got unemployment for it. So, like I said, during the pandemic, the newspapers was like an essential. I was an essential worker. You know what I'm saying? They made us deliver newspapers through the whole pandemic. So, after a year doing that, somebody put me on like, yo, why you didn't apply for unemployment? I'm like, because I was still, somebody put me on like, yo, man, you know you could file for unemployment because you started a business and the pandemic stopped you from really pushing your business forward. So I'm like, oh, word. So boom, I do the knowledge. I filed for unemployment. They give me a year of back pay. They gave me a nice lump sum. I ain't gonna hold you. And I've been working with that same lump sum ever since. So with that lump sum, I went and got a storefront. I moved all my equipment in the storefront. I bought big printers. I was buying as much equipment as I could to generate more money. Like buying the printers I got, you could make magazines, you could make banners, posters. I started getting into sublimation printing, and I opened a brick and mortar, Cambridge Customs Printing Company. My first official business by myself. I had a beat shop back in the day on Bailey with a few other partners, but that was my first official business on my own. And it was doing good. I can't complain, it was doing good, but due to the lack of assistance, I had to say, you know what? I was getting up every morning from 9 o'clock to 9 at night, sometimes later than that, to keep it open because I started it with partners. And then also, we had the front part. The front part was like a party rental spot. I had bounce houses, cotton candy machines, the whole 9 yards. So I was doing that and decided, you know what? I can't invest all my time. I was spread myself thin. So when I closed my brick and mortar, I'm like, yo, it's something else. Hold on, let me run it back. Because did I tell y'all, like, this is, like, Coins Apparel was my third clothing brand that I tried to start. Like, when I was still at home before my first brick and mortar, I was working out my attic at home in my first baby mother house. I was working out my attic, and I started a clothing brand called the Forever Young Collection, which was a reflection on my daughter. It was like a kid's clothing line, but I didn't really know the dynamics and the ins and outs of fashion. I really didn't know how to graphic design, so it was just something. It was a learning experience. I wasn't gonna say it's just something. It was a learning experience, and then I decided to start Confiance International, which I really ain't get far with that either, because these was just learning experiences. I really ain't know nothing about the fashion industry. I didn't know nothing about graphic designing. I ain't know nothing about nothing. I was just trying shit. You know what I'm saying? So where was I? So like I said, I closed the brick and mortar down. So I'm like, damn, what is it I can do that I can really do on my own, and it doesn't require a lot of manpower. So I'm like, you know what? I'm about to get back into fashion. I was fortunate enough. A friend of mine, he had a manufacturer. So here I go again. I created a design. Boom. And I'm like, created a logo. Here I go. Really not that sharp with graphic designing yet. Boom. So I come out with my first design. This was in 2023. So this is when Coins Apparel was actually established in 2023. I get some sweatsuits made. But I wasn't really happy with the design. I'm like, man, some people liked it and some people was like, but I was just throwing something together, trying to figure it out. So I think after about a year of that, I stopped again. So from 2023, I didn't actually stop because I was still selling sweatsuits, man. I still had a website, honestly, so my passion wasn't there because I wasn't happy with the design I made. So for the whole next year, I'm reinventing myself. I'm reinventing the brand. Listen, let me tell you how I got Coins, right? Now, like I told you, I met a few good men while I was in prison. Shout it out to my man from Harlem. No names need to be said. And we used to chop it up, man. We used to show me pictures of Get Money nigga from Harlem, right? And he used to always say, man, listen, I used to get to them coins, man. When I get out here, I'm getting back to them coins. And I never heard that moniker or slang for money before from Buffalo. So I'm like, yo, this must be some New York City shit. Coins, but it was funny and it was catchy. I'm like, coins. I'm like, oh, all right, coins. So when I sat down, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to call this brand Coins. I chose Coins because, like I said, money has always been the motivation. I don't care where you came from. I don't care if you came from poverty. I don't care if you came from middle class, upper class. When you get up, I don't care what your profession is. When you wake up in the morning, yo, you are striving to make $1. That's it. The bottom line. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna make a clothing brand that reflects or represents money, right? So I'm like, dang, I don't want to. So what can I call it that's gonna represent money? Boom. So here I go. My mental bank. I'm thinking about. Oh, my man used to call it Coins. My man used to refer money. And also, I ain't gonna hold you. I was watching Tubi movies, and I'm starting to hear a lot of people refer to money as coins. So I'm like, oh, you know what? Everybody is calling money coins. So I'm about to come out with a clothing brand called Coins. I'm going to call it Coins Apparel, right? So I'm like, yo, damn, so what do I want this brand to represent? So I'm like, yo, hold on. I want it to represent my life, but not just my life. I want it to reflect those that came from the same environment as me. I want a brand that actually represents the urban community, that actually speaks the sentiments of the urban community. So as I'm coming up with the mission statement, I'm like, all right, I say, yo, this brand gonna represent those that came from disadvantaged neighborhoods and communities that had to do things unconventionally as a means of survival due to a lack of options. which is my story and probably a million other people's story. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go look at the prison systems, it's filled up. Like, everybody that came from this, we was famine in the urban community. Everybody that came from poverty had to go outside and figure it out on their own because options were limited in the ghettos of America. So that's what the brand represents. The brand represents those that came from disadvantaged neighborhoods and communities that had to do things unconventionally as a means of survival due to a lack of options. So I'm like, yo, so now let me come up with a slogan. What's a good slogan for coins? Now look, all our designs it represents money. Every design represents money. Period. We got the Treasury Department, we got the ATM collection, we got In Coins We Trust. Everything represents money, some way, shape, form, or fashion, right? So I'm like, yo, now I need a slogan for the brand. So I understand the dynamics. My man, like I said, rest in peace to Pisno. One day my man tapped me that we was riding around and he like, yo, Fresh, you know the reason why I don't really hold on to money? I give it he said money, they call money currency for a reason. You gotta let it flow in order to generate. And I'm like, yo, that was some deep shit you just said. So I said, yo, you know what? I said, yo, look, smell, feel like money. That's going to be the slogan for Coins Apparel. And I understand the dynamics that money is the motivation. And in order to attract money, you got to look, smell, feel like it. You know what I'm saying? Money going to attract money. That's just the bottom line. And coming up in my day and age, you had the OGs like, man, I'm looking like money. Man, I smell like money. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I got the slogan from. So now I got to ask myself, how do I want to design these clothes? How do I want to design these products? And listen, I am a huge fan of the 90s era of fashion. Now, to me, that was the golden era of hip-hop and fashion. The Rocawear, the FUBU, the Echo, the Aniche, the cross color, even going in the 80s. The cross colors, the Carol Kanais, the Willie Esco, that was the golden era for fashion and hip-hop. So I said, you know what? When I design my brand, I want to resurrect that era of fashion, but I want to blend in today's trends. You see what I'm saying? So that's where all our designs is. Our designs gonna represent gonna bring the 90s nostalgia, 90s early 2000s nostalgia with a twist of today's trends. So as y'all know, we just did New York Fashion Week. Shout out to Runway 7. So when I got accepted to Runway 7 back in March, so now here I go. I'm a critical thinker. Here I go, thinking again. I'm like, yo, this is a global stage. Do I really want to go up there with something called Coins Apparel? I said, that's not going to resonate. It's just not going to resonate with people. So I'm like, yo, figure it out. So I go to ChatGPT and Google. And I type in Coins Apparel in other languages. And then boom, it pops up Numi Vestas. If y'all don't know what Numi Vestas is Coins Apparel in Latin. That's all it is. It still say Coins Apparel, but it's Latin. But when you combine the words, it gives you a totally different meaning. It means dressed in cash or money clothes. I'm like, there it is, that's it. And that's how today we are called Numi Vestas. Means dressed in cash or money clothes. Perfect. So I would like to thank all the fans and supporters, everybody that purchased something from us, anybody that follow us on any social media site, man. Please, man, if y'all see this video, go follow us on IG, Facebook. Y'all can find the merch at www.numivestas.com. I'm also doing a sports podcast. It's called Not For Losers Sports Podcast. You can find that on YouTube. And I want to shout out to everybody that I met during this journey, because like I said, I relaunched again last year in November. And in that 1 year, I met a lot of good people, man. I came a long way, man. I want to thank everybody that assisted me up until this point, man. Listen, I still got a long journey to travel, man, but I promise, I owe it to my children. I owe it to my 3 daughters. I'm making sure that my 3 daughters do not have to live the life that I live and everybody else that grew up in an urban community. That's my mission. My mission is to change my kids' life. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, man, thank y'all for tapping in, man. Y'all make sure if y'all want to look, smell, feel like money, go to www.newmevestors.com, man. And y'all already know, man. Stay safe, man. Stay blessed, man. I'm out, man.
Lights, cameras, action, movie script, cut. This is real live movie shit.